Awesome. Oh, Kat, now I can see you. So I'm going to ask folks to actually mute yourselves just because we're getting a little bigger with more attendees. And if you want to have a comment, raise your hand, ask a question. Because again, where we're recording, sometimes it gets sort of quirky if you can like hear somebody's chatting with their partner or whatever. So yeah, exciting to have everybody joining. I see Teresa. Are you by any chance wearing overalls from Duluth Trading Company with little garden gnomes on them?
I do happen to be. Duluth overalls are most of my wardrobe, so.
I love that pattern, and I've been like getting ads for them. Probably I'll even get more ads now that I've been talking about it near my phone. I don't
They're
have
so
any.
comfortable. I highly recommend.
I was about to say I haven't actually hit the button and ordered, but maybe you're influencing me right now. Well, it's so great to see everybody coming in. So I want to say, first of all, let's hear from you, Pat. I want to hear all about finishing your anchor. It's so pretty.
Thank you. So I'm wearing it, as y'all can see. It's very comfortable. I'm very, very pleased with how it turned out. I wanted you all to be encouraged to know that when you get finished, it's going to be lovely. They're just going to love it. So.
Any questions for Pat about finishing? Because I don't know if you saw the picture that came out in yesterday's email, but I did mention that Pat had extended her sleeves a little bit. So if y'all have any questions for Pat, feel free to raise a hand. I see Susan Mulbear. Why don't you unmute and ask your question?
Hey, Pat. So did you go down a size on the sleeves on needle size to a 4, or you just kept with the 6?
Yep, I kept with a 6, and from where the yoke ends, before I start the, what do you call that?
The rib?
Ribbing.
Oh, rib, yep.
It's 6 inches for me.
Okay.
That's what it was for me, which puts the ribbing is about 1.5 inches, so it puts it just above my elbow.
Yeah, it looks great.
Perfect length.
Yeah, and it's not tight or anything else. Okay, good. I was wondering about that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I see one more hand, but quickly, Pat, can I ask about, did you switch to the size 4 for your ribbing on your arms? Yes. Okay. Okay. Yep. Okay.
I did everything that the pattern said, except I extended the sleeves. After there's some decreases for the sleeve, and then once those 2 or 3 are done, I just went straight down for 6 inches.
Awesome.
Very easy.
All right, that's good. I see Linda, do you have a question?
That was my question, is did she keep decreasing, or did she just
No. Yeah.
go down? Okay, thank you.
Now I have a question.
Okay.
Because we're working with cotton and not with wool. And when I attach a new ball of yarn, and when I picked up for the sleeves, to begin the sleeves underarm, it starts at the middle, of your underarm. You can't spit splice it in, or, so under my arms, when I finished, I tied a knot. I knotted it because I wasn't sure what the rule is with cotton. Now, when I added, the body of my sweater is just about 2 balls of yarn. And so right about in the middle is when I added the second ball, and I always put my 2 yarns together and knit them for about 5 stitches and then let them go, which is what I did. So I'm hoping it's already been washed and blocked. So I don't know if cotton works like wool does to anchor it, or do I need to be worried?
I was actually just having this conversation with Kristen earlier this week, because, like so many of us have been taught, like, never use a knot. But I think what Kristen, that was the dog tossing her bone. Sorry about that. Um, what Kristen decided to do was to do knots. I didn't, because I hadn't really thought about it, but I think I will moving forward. So when I changed for my first ball, I didn't use a knot, but I think, and so I'll try to weave in the ends. But I think I will probably moving forward do a knot. And Kristen had one. I'm gonna forget the name right now, but maybe somebody on here knows. It's like you take the two threads, overlap them like that, and then create a little knot on either side, and then kind of pull it together. What's the name of that? Why can't I
Yeah,
think of it?
I've seen that. That's, yeah, I know what you're
But
saying.
the Russian
Yeah,
knot.
kind of the Russian knot. That's what I'm thinking.
Russian knot. Okay,
Yeah.
great.
But I did
don't
like
think you
you
need to
would
be
do
worried.
it for sewing, because I just had the one strand. So as I looped it through, I made like you would when you're sewing, and you put a little knot in there, and then I wove the tail in.
Cool.
So
Thank you, Pat.
I tried the Russian knot with the Sonata and it
Mhm.
didn't work. They pulled apart. 'Cause
Mm,
there's viscose in it, so I thought it would work, but it's kind of a thin, thick yarn, so it didn't work.
yep. I see that Linda, you have your hand up.
Yes, I just want to comment that, first of all, I am really new to understanding patterns. When I have done things in the past, it was always like with a teacher right next to me. And I decided I'm just going to like really try to figure things out. The hardest part for me was when I had to set up the markers for the increases, and I just couldn't get to the right number. It was like the way the directions were, I felt like they were so unclear, because I just never, and then I realized that I shouldn't, like I was supposed to put a marker in between each of the stitches for the raglan. And so I didn't count those four. It was just really, I kept, and I had a rip and rip, but I think now I set myself, now I have the right number of stitches and I'm ready for the raglan. I mean, I know I didn't really understand that there's many different ways to do a raglan stitch.
Mhm.
And at first, the first thing I did was really stupid. It was I didn't keep a knit in the middle. I just did right. So I've learned a lot, and I think I'm headed in the right direction. But I don't understand how you try it on to see if it fits. Like, is there some kind of special trick or thing that you buy, or do you just put it on two needles, or what?
Well, so for many years, we all were used to using a waste piece of yarn and threading it through all of our stitches, right? Or taking two really long needles if you have them. But now we have the technology of these handy dandy barber cords. And I think I put them in Tuesday's email, maybe. I know they were in the email today that went out about one of Kristen's favorite tools. It was at the bottom. And so essentially, it is this gorgeous little tool that so many of us didn't think we needed until we found out about it. And now we can't live without it. And it's a tiny little silicone tube. You're not going to be able to see it. But what I can do with this silicone tube is I have two now, because I have two sweaters that are both needing them. So I had to like buy a second one. So I can take my silicone tip and push that right down on the tip of my needle.
Oh, that's a
And then
great idea.
it just makes it
So
a
you put it on
cinch.
both sides.
Well, so then I can super easily just like smoosh my stitches right onto the cord.
Right.
And you can see that it allows for me to tie them in a little knot, so that, this is my sleeve right now, holding my sleeve. So what comes in the box, which like this. What comes in it is one that's very long, like this is my 40 whatever inch, and then there's two smaller ones for like sleeves.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yep, I will pop the link right into the chat for you.
Oh, I saved my email, but I didn't get to look at it.
Okay.
Well, that's a help. I don't know if this is going to fit because I did end up making the larger size just by
Okay.
getting like a feel for it. And since it's cotton, I thought, well, I can always shrink it. I hope it works. Well, I hope next week I'll have something more tangible to show.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad that you're with us, Linda, and feel free if you're getting stumped. I mean, people reach out by email all the time, and for sure with our previous knit-alongs, I've had conversations with people on the phone, even had a personal Zoom with somebody during the Ramona because
Oh, great.
she was real stumped, and I was just plopping away doing my emails, and she was separating for her sleeves, and she literally wanted to feel like she was just sitting next to me. So I was doing my work, and then I'd say like, okay, so are you at this point yet? And she was like, yep. So anyway,
that's wonderful.
don't suffer in silence.
Well, I mean, I'm very proud that I didn't just like throw away the whole thing because I was starting to just make my own increases to get the right number of stitches. And then I said, oh no, that can't be right. You gotta figure this out. Okay, well, thanks for the support.
Thanks, Linda. And I also see Linda Harmon has a hand back up. Oop.
So did I go
Now
away?
I can't see you now,
Oh,
Linda.
yep, I poked the wrong button. Here I am.
Okay.
So I had also issues with the pattern understanding it. So I'm knitting an extra large, and it took me forever to figure out. I'm going to show this part down here where it says, it's on the what I think is the fourth round of ribbing on
Okay.
the size for large and extra large.
Yep.
It's when you do the increases, it says you now have X number of stitches. Well,
Yep.
because I'm doing an extra large, it's always 5 over. You count 5 over. Well, that's not how they did this one.
Well, I
these
know
stitches,
that I know that, Linda. I actually
it is
wrote
so
on my
wrong.
well, I wrote on my pattern, see these little like stars, and where I like wrote,
Yes.
like I had to do that for myself. I feel like this is one of those times where when we did the Ramona sweater, there were some knitters who felt like, wow, there's times where it feels like she's holding our hand too much, is maybe a wordy pattern for some people. But I feel like this one is a little bit the other way. There's some maybe
Right.
assumptions about everybody's
Yes.
readers' comprehension with their knitting patterns, I think.
Because this had me having 312 stitches, and then you flip the page and you should have 300. Okay, well, 12 stitches too many is too many. And then, so that was crazy. But I do have a question. Is the raglan stitch always a purl?
Nope, it's never a purl.
Is this one a purl? So wasn't the raglan on the Ramona a purl?
Yes, it was. And that was a design feature where it was that broken rib along the raglan stripe, right? And so this is not.
So it's standard to be knitted, because this just says raglan stitch.
Yeah, it's just standard to be knitted.
Okay.
If it was something else, it would have told you. Yeah.
Okay.
And what Chris and I were looking at a couple of other round yoke sweaters we have in the shop as samples. Oh gosh, there's the bone again. And here, come up here. Come up here. Come up. Here we go. Have your antler instead. So what we were looking at is the problem with round yoke sweaters, especially like if you look at a maybe traditional Icelandic kind of a style, is the shaping. If it's simply just round yoke, it can just feel so, those arms feel so floppy and long. And oh my goodness. Okay, we're taking the bone away now. That's super obnoxious. Oh my gosh. Come here. You come on up. But those little bit of the raglan are just so perfect for adding that little bit of shaping, so you don't get the like, I want to say Yeti arms or like some kind of abominable snowman
Yeah.
floppy
Okay.
arms. But yeah,
Okay. Thanks.
sure. Wendy Callis has a hand raised.
So just in answer to her question, that fifth round starts with large. So
Right.
it's not,
Yeah. That's what she
I don't
said. She figured out,
Oh,
but
she
that
did
wasn't
figure it. Yeah.
wasn't that clear
Okay,
in
but
the when she first read it.
the other question I had was about the barber cords. Do you need to have interchangeable needles to do it, or do you use a double?
I mean, you just need to, it's just, yeah, no. I think if you had a straight needle and somehow had like your pieces of your sweater, you could do the same thing with the barber cord, threading
What
it
did you
through.
just use when you did it there?
Well, this is just the body of my sweater. Like with my, it's just a circular needle.
So you put it on the end of that and went it through?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Put it on the end of the needle tip, and then just it runs all the way through the body or like through the sleeve, as the case may be.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Good to see you. And it looks like, let's see, Linda G has a question. Oh, you're still muted.
So when I was looking at the sizes, it looked like the medium and the large were the same number of cast-ons, and everything was like, seemed to be the same until you got to the number of times you repeated, right? And then to the raglan increases. So
Mhm.
isn't that unusual? Like, I guess I don't have a concept of how you put, there's the same number of stitches for a medium or a large.
Well, so I mean, just think of it. So from a top-down constructed garment, Linda, like, you know, our heads are mostly the same size head, right? And then it's only when we get to our middle section that we have some variability. So to my mind, you know, having mostly pretty similar cast on sizes is just really about getting it over your neck. That's all.
And then the raglan increases, like, do you think that like, so for mine, I think I do 3. In other words, for the size that I picked, you do 3.
Mhm.
I don't even have the concept of how they come up with 3. Like, can we adjust that if it feels like it's too low or too high when we try to do it?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I would say this is a prime moment for your barber cord.
I'm gonna
That
have to get
yeah,
it right away.
because like if you know, when I actually have not tried this on, but Kristen tried hers on in the shop the other day, and I was kind of helping her, you know, because you can't quite see it around the back of your head and whatever. But she had a really good idea of how this felt. You know, she had knit just a little bit beyond separating for sleeves, but you could you know, where I think it does help to have done that separation to really get a true feeling of how that sleeve is going to fit on your arm. I know for myself, I cannot stand it if a sleeve is too tight on that part. I mean, so, and I know I also have like slightly bigger shoulders maybe than some average people of my size or something. So that's something I always pay attention to, because I just know that it would feel very uncomfortable for me. But yeah, that's totally customizable, and you could, um, you know, if you didn't want to get into the situation where, oh, well, if you once you separate for the sleeves, then you'd have to like rip back if you hated it. So one thing I did with my husband, sweater I'm making for my husband, which is also a yoked sweater, is I looked ahead, and again, his is a raglan, so it made it really easy, but I looked ahead to the number of stitches that were going to be on his, you know, it was easy to see with his raglan shaping. I could put those stitches directly on a barber cord, even though it was still all one yoke and I hadn't divided. I kind of cheated it by putting the body stitches on one cord, again, knowing that I had not cast on those little extras underneath, but it
Right.
gave us a little feeling for it. If that might be a good step to take.
All right, thank you.
Thanks. I saw Claudia, you, and then after that we'll
Yeah.
have, yeah.
Hi, thanks. I'm getting a little bit of a late start. I just got back from a 2-week trip to California, so I'm just getting going, and I'm hoping to use something out of my stash, which is a Rowan linen that I had, but I
Okay.
don't have enough of any color. And I wondered if you'd seen anybody do this pattern using 2 colors and maybe the yoke and trim on the sleeve and at the bottom in one color. I mean, they're all kind of in the same tonal range. I have this really pretty sort of minty green blue, and then I have a lighter tan. And anyway, I mean, I think I could make something happen, but I'm a little worried that I don't know. I'm just wondering what your thoughts are about using 2 colors on a project like this.
Well, I can tell you what I've seen. I know that Miranda has, she's using multiple colors of Kakagori by Noro, kind of in the same color family. And with the Noros, this isn't one of the like super color changing Noros, but there's the kind of tweed in the Kakagori. And so the colors she's using have little tweed bits of the other colors. And so she did a yoke, she's doing her sections of yoke in kind of changing, and then she's going to move to one color for the body. She had some yarn left from the stash that she really liked, but she didn't have enough. But I think you could totally do it. I think maybe what you might want to try, and of course, don't feel like you're behind, because you could do this so fast once you get going. Look at Pat,
Yeah.
she's on number 2, right?
Yeah.
But maybe it's worthwhile to do a little bit of like a practice swatch, really just for giving your mind that idea. So if you did a 1x1 ribbing and 2 rounds plain and then changed color to a different color, like, would you like that? You could tell that probably on like a little 4x4 swatch how you felt about that. Or maybe it's like you want to alternate a couple colors closer, like not necessarily have it be the rib chunk sections. But you might just want to give yourself a little time to play with that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Claudia.
And
oh yeah, go ahead.
You did have a lot of great suggestions, so I'm sorely tempted to come over. I live on Vinyl Haven, so it's just a little ferry ride away from me, but maybe I'll have to come buy more yarn.
Well, we also ship, but it's not the same as like being able to bring in what you have and kind of look.
Yeah,
and
no,
yeah.
All right,
But
thank you
it'd
so
be great
much.
to see you. Sure. I saw, and it just looks like iPhone to me, but iPhone, you had your hand raised, and maybe now you're frozen. I can't remember your name. Maybe it was Jane. Jane, are you iPhone? You're muted, Jane. Can you unmute yourself?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
there you are. Is
Here
it
I
Jane?
am. Yes. I'm
Okay,
a
good. I
Jane.
wasn't. Yep. Hi. I couldn't remember.
Yeah. So I started mine, and I'm doing 2 colors around the yoke, and then the rest of it is going to be the green. But I also started swatching a lot of different yarns that I have, because I don't mind wearing like a fingering weight wool in the summer if it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me? Because
Yeah, we can.
Oh.
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, because it's freezing. The iPhone is freezing a lot. So I've done different fingering yarns today, swatching. And I want it to be drapey. So I spoke to my yarn shop here, and I did the swatch on these and washed it, and we figured we're going to make like an extra large. And then you know, block it. And I'm sure it's going to be fine because I've made one of these before.
Great. Well, thanks for holding that up, especially in light of Claudia's question just a second ago.
And I have to get it done by May 12th, which I'm sure I can do.
You're giving yourself a deadline. Do you have like an event that you're attending, or?
We're going to Croatia. So it's on a boat. It's on a small boat, just like 18 staterooms.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, we went to Iceland like in January, and we met a group of people who are they're all related in one way or another. And so we got to know them really well, and they asked us if we'd like to go. My husband never says no, so we're going.
That's amazing, Jane. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah.
cool. So you'll be wearing this we wouldn't mind if you wanted to take a photo of yourself wearing your finished anchors when you're
Oh,
on your trip.
yeah.
Email it.
I will. I mean, it's going to be cool, even though it's May.
Yeah.
When you're out on the water, it's chilly.
Oh, sure. Sure.
So that's why I'm going to make some out of lightweight wool.
Perfect. Great.
So,
Well, thanks for weighing in.
thank you.
Yeah, nice to hear from you. Who else has questions or thoughts? Eileen, did you unmute?
I thought I did.
Yeah, you did. I can hear you.
I was disappointed in mine. The cotton yarn, Marika, what is it?
Meraki.
Yeah, it just isn't even. Maybe it's just cotton. I always had a thing against the cotton. Let me hang it up this way.
Did
That's
you
the neck end.
did you get a chance to read the email that I sent yesterday?
Yeah, and that it'll get better when you wash it. Yeah, I did read that, but
a lot of people were feeling like, I don't like how this looks.
exactly.
I hope it looks better after washing, but it's a great color for
I
you.
kept at it. I didn't give up, but I remembered why I didn't like working with cotton. It just
Got
doesn't.
it.
So I have some other yarn. I'm practice on this one, and then I'll make it out of the wool. But yeah, other than that, the pattern I was okay with. I just put the markers in to do the increases, and I've done that, make left and right, but the markers seem to be where I want to do my increase. So I'm curious as when I knit there, because I've never put the two markers in. I've done the raglan, but just put one marker and then do the increases on either side of the one stitch.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. Yeah. So this has that central stitch that you're going to work around. Yep.
Yeah. So with the markers on the needle, it looks like they'll be in the way. So
yeah, it's a little different. Maybe you can take a look at that video just to get a sense of how it works out.
Yeah, and I didn't look at we sent the video on the yarn overs, and of course I did it the way I always do it, but it's for a buttonhole. So the first thing has the holes, and then I thought, well, maybe I'm supposed to do it. And
That's
then
funny.
the video came. So I don't think it looks too bad, too different. It's a design element.
It perfects. Great. Well, thanks, Eileen. Anybody else? I'm just making a note to myself because Linda H, when you said that about the way that those numbers are sized, I had actually made a note to myself. I wanted to put that in an email. So hopefully it won't be too late for everybody, but I might put that in the Tuesday tips as a reminder for folks.
Yeah, it just was, I mean, I've never seen it like that.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question,
Mm-hmm.
kind of related. So mine is out of cotton and linen. Will I be able to bring it and wear it in Maine when I come in June, or will I freeze to death?
Oh golly. Well, I would say bring it. Layering, as anybody up here will tell you, is the name of the game. And I'm so excited you're coming in June. Are you going to be able to visit the shop?
I am. I'm going on a sailing trip.
You're doing the cruise?
Yes, me and my daughter-in-law from California.
Gosh, great. Oh my gosh. Well, yes. So we could have a whole separate Zoom about sales packing for your schooner trip, but I
That
will
would
just
be a
say
great idea. I would love that. I would love
I'm gonna
that.
write it down. Maybe that's a podcast topic for Kristen and I. I love it. But the short version is layers are the name of the game.
Okay.
You're gonna
Okay.
pack probably everything from like could be a packable winter layer coat in your rain gear and t-shirts and yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, that's cool. I'm so glad to know that.
It was just a whim. I sent her, we were there last summer, my son and his family from California and us from Alabama. And we went to the shop and of course fell in love. And then I got the email that said about the sailing trip and I sent it to her and she said, we should go. And I said, oh, there's no way we can go. They're already full by now. She said, well, we could at least try. And I said, okay. So we did, and we got on. So
I think you're gonna love it, Linda. I had the good fortune not to be on a knitting cruise, but I had 2 trips that I took on the J&E Riggin. And of course, I brought my knitting. I made my own knitting cruise.
yes, yes.
And it was just truly, it was so relaxing
I'm
and
so excited.
just an incredible way to just because your cell phone doesn't necessarily work that well and
Mhm.
you're just watching the scenery go by and half the time I'd be like, wait, I brought my knitting up here and I've just been sitting here for the past 20 minutes like watching the birds and the water and
Mhm.
I think you'll love it. The owners are great
can't
and
wait.
Kristen is going on the trip so you'll get to be
Okay,
with her.
good, great.
Awesome. Jane Merrill, looks like you've got your hand up.
I do. So I was feeling bad that again, I'm a little behind. I just did my swatch, but actually I think this is a good because I'm hearing everybody's ideas and problems. And so that will help me later on because this is the first time I've done something like this. So I did my swatch, which is a little too big. And I was a little like the stitches didn't change as much as I thought. Like I thought it would shrink down a little bit. So I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna swatch again with a smaller needle to see what happens. But I did do that little swatchy thing.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It looks messy. It looks messy, but I had a hard time with that. But I did it, and I'm really pleased with how it's striping. And I was questioning that. So I'm more excited about it, but I'm still finishing. I'm just actually doing my I-cord bind off. Woo! Shift. So again, a little behind, but I'm gonna learn from everyone else's problems and questions, and so that's good. So thanks.
I love that, Jane. And so can I just ask, like, how far off were you with your gauge?
So it was supposed to be what 20 stitches to 4 inches, and I had 18.
Okay. Yeah.
I started another swatch with one size smaller, but they were metal needles as opposed to, like, I did this on bamboo needles, and on the metal needle it came much tighter, so it was actually the other way extreme. So again, I'm gonna try, once I finish this, I'm gonna do these needles in bamboo and see what happens, and then decide. Like I know we talked about this last week. I may have to do a different size, I think, than what I was thinking originally. It's that far off, so I think I can make it work.
Well, the other thing that I would mention too is a lot of times, just maybe because I'm lazy, but I will make a long swatch. So I'll start with one needle and then let's say start with actually, I think for this one, I started with a 4. It was way too tight because I usually assume I'm going to be loose. I went to a 6. So then I put in like one ridge row of like 2 knit rows in a row or something. then I went to a 6, then another ridge row, then I went to a 7, and it was really great for me to see the 3 of them to really compare. And so my swatch wasn't necessarily I didn't do like a full 4 inches for each section. I probably
Got
did like
it.
2-ish.
Okay.
And you can always also block it on your needle and or like put it on a barber cord and block it on the barber cord. I know, crazy, right? So you could try that as well, but I love that you're giving yourself the time. I think that it's so like we all want to just jump into the knitting, and I completely get that. Like I am there with
Right.
you. But I think there is something that's really, if we can sort of curb our enthusiasm maybe and take that time. Oh my gosh, there's a mosquito. Sorry, I'm squishing it on the Zoom. Mosquito insane. What's it doing in my house? My windows are closed. It's a cold day. Anyway, back to the swatching. I think it is
Yeah.
the type of thing where when you can give yourself that time, then you're knowing your yarn, you're feeling it. Maybe your
Right.
tension even changes a little bit. If you haven't worked with cotton a lot before, I think our gauge with cotton can be really different than what it is with wool in
Yeah.
terms of just, are we a tight or looser knitter? But yeah.
Yeah, it's like I said, this one with a 7, because usually I knit tight. So I used a 7 here and it just seemed a little too big. But
Yeah.
the 6 with metal needles was much, much tighter.
Mm.
So I'm gonna try with bamboo 6, see what happens, and then go from there. But I'm excited about it. And I went to my knitting group last night. I have a knitting group that I go to once in a while. And they were all like, what's going on with your swatch? So I got to, some
You're
people
like,
hadn't heard about that. So that was fun.
so you got to like wave that around your
Yeah, because
special
usually I'm the
circular
one that's
swatch.
like, what are you talking
That's great. I'm going to mute myself and let my dog out. She's pressing her button for outside. And so I'm going to be right back. Sorry, I should have said you should like carry on and chit chat while I did that.
How's yours coming with the color? I'm curious.
Oh, it's really gonna be fun. And there's a person.
Can you see the pattern? I was afraid the pattern wouldn't show. Yeah.
Well, it's different. You can definitely read
Yeah.
it as a texture, but you don't quite get that
Yeah,
nice,
yeah.
neat kind of like ridge. You don't see the little ridge of
Right.
stockinette in between as much, but
the stripes are nice. They're even. It's
They're
not like
even. It's-
fooled.
yeah, exactly. I like it. And somebody who came to our kickoff in the shop last weekend, Jenny, she's a newer knitter. She's using the same yarn as me, so it's fun for her also to see what it might look like.
Did you
Yeah.
carry the yoke beyond? It looks like your yoke is really long. Is it just because of the color?
I think it's just because of the color.
How many ridges? Let's see.
And
Yeah,
I think I'm making an XL, so
oh, okay, that explains it.
Yeah, because ours is only 4.
Yeah, mine's 4.
I'm a little taller and a little broader, I guess, that way.
You don't look like it on these the video. You look slim and trim, my dear.
I forget, what did the pattern call for, 6 needle or 7? What?
It was a size 6 is what it called for. And then 4 for your ribbing around your sleeve.
I thought I changed the needle, but no, I did a 6. So
and then I guess also at the body too, right? bind off and yeah. Yep. So you change to the 4 for the ribbing at the bottom of the sweater and then for the sleeve. Yep. Well, I wanted to get to Lucy. I don't know if Lucy's
I'm here.
Yeah, there you are. I was looking for my Hollywood squares, trying to find everybody. Lucy, to your question last week about the underarms
Yes.
and so Whitney, who is the person who made our shop sample, she's actually coming to our store on Tuesday for a visit, showing us great new yarns, etc. And we're gonna hop on a either do a quick separate podcast just with her or maybe just with her and Kristen, where we're gonna hopefully hear from her about the modifications she made specifically for that sample. Maybe we'll even get to see her with it on, which would be really fun. So that will be coming, and it might be its own podcast, or maybe we'll fold it into another podcast with me and Kristen, but that is coming. Haven't forgotten.
Well, thank you.
Kat, I see you have a cat in your Zoom.
I do. This is
Who
Scout.
is- Scout.
Scout
like
is, he's 15.
15. Oh, wow. A passionate Zoomer and knitter, hopefully.
Oh, yes, he loves to help me knit. It's very helpful.
By like sitting on your lap when you're trying to knit.
Sitting on my lap, chasing the yarn, eating it, all those good things.
Well, it sounds like he's still a pretty lively fellow for being
He is.
15.
He is very lively.
That's good. Jamie, it's nice to see you join us on Zoom today.
Yeah, I have another thing on Wednesday nights and it just happened to not happen tonight. And so I'm kind of, I feel like I'm cheating a little bit. I'm like on the very last part of the sleeve of my other sweater. And so I thought maybe I could just join you and get a little bit of like knitterly support.
We're not going to kick you off the Zoom,
Okay,
but
good.
I do want you to hold up your sleeve close to the camera so maybe others can see.
Sure. Hold on a second. Let's see. I have a filter on, but can you see?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Let me see. Hold on. Trying like not to. This is my second sleeve.
Okay.
So yeah.
It's a
So
beautiful, it's the flax sweater by Tin Can Knits, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And she is using Rios in that gorgeous, what's the color?
Oh, hold on.
I want to say Vulcan, but I'm not positive.
I don't think it's Vulcan.
I
can't remember what it is.
It's
Anyways,
just an incredible warm brown, reddish, goldish. It's beautiful.
I'm just so in love with it. And of course, the last few days have been so cold. I'm like, it'd be nice if I could just wear this right now.
It looks like you might be able to before we.
I think like I could probably get this done by tomorrow. I'm pretty close to the end. And like all the decreases on the sleeves, it goes pretty quick at this point.
Is anybody making long sleeves out of this?
Of the anchors?
Yeah.
I know somebody who thought she might do a 3/4 length sleeve from the shop. Yeah.
Just curious.
Hi, Jennifer. Good to see you.
Hi. Yeah, almost back to normal.
Good. I'm so sorry Kristen shared that you had a scary accident.
I totaled my car on the way home from Camden almost two weeks ago in a couple days.
I'm so glad that you were Okay.
Yeah, I climbed out of my car, but my car is gone. I got a new one. So
Oh,
insurance covers everything, but I've never done that before. So hopefully they won't be too mad at me.
excellent.
The squirrel got away just fine.
Oh.
I'm getting ready to cast on now. But I'm looking for a different cast on because I want to do a stretchy cast on. I don't want to have like the neck be really rigid. Is
We had
anybody
some conversation about that. Yeah, we had some conversation at the last Zoom about this. Like some people going for tubular and stretchy. Some of us just going for a long tail and being really intentional about our tightness or going up a needle size for our cast on. So all over the map with that. Yeah.
Can I make a comment on that?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
When I made this one, I used a regular long tail cast on, and when I was knitting it, it just seemed like it was so small. And then when it was finished, you can see it is very stretchy. So I would not go to a stretchy cast on, because this my fabric anyway that I'm using, and it's a linen and cotton blend, it gives it plenty of stretch. If it was any stretchier, it'd be coming off my shoulder.
I've been fighting with myself because due to the design, it's the whole yoke is ribbing. So it's going to be stretchy by design.
But it doesn't. It just lays on your body. It doesn't really stretch out. It's kind of amazing. I didn't think I was going to like this pattern finished, but I love it.
Oh, good.
Anyway, it's not really stretchy.
It's so great that you can be our trailblazer, Pat. Thank you for that.
Well, I guess it depends on the yarn you're using. And mine is the Pride. I'm having an Amazon delivery right now. He's about to go right through my garage. Oh no. Anyway, I think it's okay. So my yarn may react differently than what you've chosen, but just for mine, that's a linen cotton blend. That's what it's doing. And this just, that ribbing just causes it to lay so nice across your shoulders and your chest. You'll see.
I'm
And
using,
Pat, I think that's actually what, oh, sorry, go ahead, Jennifer.
I'm using the Noro,
Maggie.
there's silk and
The Sonata.
I'm going to mute because I got barking dogs.
Okay. I think that also what Pat was just speaking about with the ribbing was what Kristen really experienced when she put hers on the other day. And I actually tried mine on in the store when Jamie was in there. I was just trying my yoke on, and my yarn ball was like a little bit small and it's a little baggy. So I just like tucked it in my back pocket and walked around with Jamie finding yarn with my little yoke on. And it was incredibly comfortable. It just felt like it laid right down. And like Kristen was, when she put hers on, she's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to love this. And she's been really, really loving this project so much that she, you know, she's like, well, I meant to come in a little earlier the other day, but I just kept knitting and I wanted to do it. And so I think it is, it's a fun pattern. It's a quick pattern and not too many quirks to the pattern, but it's but I think the fit is going to feel pretty good. Yeah.
great. I got to still mark my pattern up. I read through it, but I need to mark it up again. So.
Jennifer, you maybe were not on the Zoom when we talked about this, and this is going to be in the Tuesday tips, but we're going to give you a hot tip right now. This was Linda brought this back to my attention, which is if you're making the size L, XL, 2XL, 3XL, 4XL, if you're making one of those, when you get to the place in your ribbing where it says specifically, you know, if you're working, it's on page 3, size up for those sizes. When you read the numbers in parentheses, you know, you'll have been, at least for me, where I'm making the XL, I'm used to reading like number 5 in from the numbers, but suddenly it's a switch because you're actually my XL was the second number in, because now we're only looking at L, XL, 2XL, 3XL. So that was like something that Linda found out and that I had seen before and thought, oh, I should put this in a tip, and then I didn't. And so poor Linda didn't see that tip, but I will. I'll get it in there.
I have a question now, because I was questioning the size, and I almost did an XL, and I cast on for a large. Just listening to you, I do feel like this is a smaller pattern. Do you think I think I'd feel more comfortable if I went up? But how do I
so
do? Could I do that without taking it all out? I only have like
Yeah,
that first top
because
rib. Okay.
because basically you could just add another, you could try it on with your barber
Okay.
cord, and when you get to the place where it wants you to split and do that thing, and you could kind
Okay.
of estimate how that might feel even before you split. Like I was saying, I think, I don't know if you were on or not, but you could lay it over your thing, and you could kind of like get a little bit of a feel. And then if you're feeling like it's going to be too tight, just add more ribbing, add another segment of ribbing
Oh.
before you make
Oh.
that split.
Oh, okay. So it's easy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. That makes me feel better.
Raglans before you make the raglans and then split.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah. Okay, that makes me feel better, because I've already ripped out one of those rows like 3 or 4 times trying to finish. But I'll be so good at it when I come back to it on Sunday.
Yes, good. I see Linda G has her hand up.
I'm really confused by the last thing you said. I'm on
Okay.
page 3 and I'm doing a large and I came out with 288 stitches. Isn't that correct?
It is correct. Yep.
Okay, I thought you were talking about reading it from a different way. Okay, I'm
Oh,
fine.
no, it was, maybe I wasn't clear. So thanks for asking for that clarification. So what I think Linda H and I were talking about was, for me with the XL, I'm so used to when I'm looking at all of the like numbers, let's say in the third rib segment where it starts there now, 230, 230, 240, 240. So I'm used to reading like 5 numbers in from the left.
Oh,
For,
okay.
you know what I mean? Because I'm
Yeah.
making size 5 essentially. But then when we switch into this one section, it's like I have to remember that actually I'm only 2 in, because now we're just looking at L, XL, 2X, so does that clarify it?
So, oh, yes. Thank you.
So you were right on, but
Now I
for,
understand.
yeah.
I just wanted to check.
Yep, perfect.
Yeah, when you go to the raglan increases, though, it goes back to the same.
Exactly. Yep. So it's just a little.
You might have
pay
just said
attention
that, but I
moment.
was already marking my pattern, so I missed it.
Okay.
Iris, I know you said that there's a video for the yarn overs, but I didn't get to look at that yet. Could you talk just a little bit about that? And what you're doing, like, is it something different than a normal?
It's a regular yarn over, but it was just that reminder of make sure you're knitting into the back loop, because in this pattern you don't want that big gigantic crater hole. You want it to be neat.
Which I'll
Or
have
maybe-
anyway, because I'm a loose knitter.
Yeah, well, and that could be fine too. But yeah, it was just sort of a refresher about what is a yarn over and how are we doing it, and yeah.
Okay. Wanted to make sure I didn't miss some top secret tip.
Nothing top secret. Nope. What else? Well, on the Saturday email that's not related to anchors, but I'll give you a little sneak preview. it's going to be all about Local Yarn Store Day, which is coming up on April 29th. And, you know, because we're sort of really trying to grow into our community of knitters who isn't actually physically local to us, we will have ways for our friends from farther away places, if you want to participate in some of the fun on that day, raffles and little special surprises if you place an order in your order. So yeah, it's going to be a really fun and festive day. And Kristen's got some awesome ideas in the works to make the store look really awesome. And we've also going to have a couple of new goodies to the shop that we're going to release that day. So that'll be fun. So you'll get this email on Saturday that will give you this little teaser. And then the following Saturday is the Local Yarn Store Day. And on that morning, we'll like give you a link to, you know, put in your raffle ticket if you can't come to the store, and you'll be able to see like what the raffle prizes are, and there will be some listings to those new items that I just talked about. So it's going to be fun, but it's such a fun way to kind of celebrate local yarn stores and the people that make local yarn stores awesome, which is you guys. So yeah, it's fun that it's a nationwide event as well, and that there's a lot going on all over the place. Yeah. Ooh, Wendy, do you have a swatch? Oh, you got your yarn bag. You're muted, maybe.
I got a lot
Yeah.
of these yarn bags to give as gifts, but I love this lemon one.
Oh, aren't they cute?
Yeah, and they work so well with just one ball of yarn for, you know, each project. So
It's so great. I love them.
Oh,
And
they're
I'm so
great.
glad that you got that little personal shopping tour with Kristen.
you know, that was great. And with you the other day. Thank you for my order.
Yeah, sure. Pat, yeah.
It would be fun for you some Wednesday when we're kind of caught up to take a tour of your store, just to see what's there, to show us the yarn, because I know that's how I found this, is from one of the pictures that you took. That I remembered seeing a green yarn, and y'all helped me figure out which one it was, and turned out this is the one I really wanted. So
I love that green.
that would be fun,
so
since
much.
we can't be there.
Yeah.
Take a little
So
trip.
I think
Yeah,
that
that'd
could
be
be
great.
I think that would be super fun. And it's funny that you all bring this up, because Kristen is currently working with a like platform that sort of does these virtual shop tours, where you could like be watching, and it's maybe almost a little bit like the shopping channels that some of us grew up with, but it's more targeted. And so we're just at the forefront of like learning about this, but I think it's something that might be coming. And in the meantime, if it doesn't end up working out that way, I think it might be kind of cool to do a Zoom. The only problem with this time frame is it's also knitting group in the shop, so it's a little extra wild and loud. But maybe we could do, I don't know, something some morning before we open, we could have a little Zoom tour, if or maybe even some evening, because I know mornings are tough for folks who work, but maybe we could do, you know, some random night when it's like a 5 to 6, like Thursdays, we're not open late, so we could do that. But that's a great idea. I love that.
Yeah.
Writing it down in my notebook.
Iris, are Pat and I using the same yarn?
Wait, so are you using the deeper emerald, Jamie?
I am.
The
Yeah.
lighter.
Oh, that's the lighter green.
I think
Ooh.
Pat has the slightly lighter, and I think you have the slightly darker, because right,
Okay.
Pat?
They look the same.
They kind of look the same. Put yours up there. Yeah.
I may have to like look at the color numbers that you
Now,
guys
let me see.
ordered.
I've got my tag right here.
Oh, you do? Cool.
My color number is 17.
Mine too.
Oh my
All
gosh.
right. We're
I
beginning.
know. Yeah,
That's awesome. You're gonna
Yeah,
be
I'm
twins.
loving it.
I love this color. It's so bright and pretty.
I tell you, when I
So
ordered the blue, I was not, because I'm ordering it online. That's why I say if we could take a tour of the shop, we can see a little better. But I ordered the blue online and was thinking it was more like a silver. And when it arrived, I absolutely drooled. It was so pretty. That's why I had to start sooner. So to switch now to the green, it's just as wonderful in the other direction. So I cannot wait for it to be finished. Great
super
yarn.
great. I love that. Yeah, I think a virtual tour would be really fun. We're also Fiberside Chats last year did this special yarn shop tour thing where it was through them, and each week a different yarn store from around the country, which was super fun. And so I'm pretty sure that's going to be happening again too, like a virtual yarn, gosh, what do they call it? I'm blanking out on the name, but that it's a fun way to like get inside of other shops and see. But yeah,
Is it a hop?
kind of like a
Yeah.
hop, like maybe in 1 hour there might have been 3 shops featured. It was pretty neat. Kristen did it, but I was away, so I couldn't be part of it last summer. But well, listen, we are already at 6:02, and it's so fun to see everybody. Fastest hour of the week. That's our motto here. But thanks for being here, and looking forward to next week.
Great. Thanks.
Bye. See you soon.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye,
Kat.
guys.
Bye,
Great to
Jane.
see you.
Okay.
That's it.
Iris, I think I got the $3